Hey, what's up, everybody? Rod J back again. Thanks for swinging by to check out this video. Just want to share an upload that just took place recently this past Friday. I was actually invited to be on the Daddy Porter show, and we had a good time doing a talk about Troegs Mad Elf, as well as some other Christmas beers. I thought I would share the replay here, but you can also catch the video on his YouTube channel. I will put a link in the description. Hopefully you guys check it out. Daddy Porter's doing some pretty good things over there, newer to the beer scene with the videos. So show him some love. If you do, check him out, of course. Tell him Rod J sent you over. Big thanks to himself, Greg, as well as Doug, who always teams up with him for most of the stuff there, and Matt and Kevin, who were also a part of the panel, who I got a chance to meet there. I think you'll find some real interesting things, not just about the Troegs beer, but also about some other beers as well. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and I look forward to catching up to you soon. Keep drinking those good craft beers, and remember, there's always time. Get your beer on. Cheers, everybody.
Live. Hello, fellas.
Hello, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
I forgot
folks.
my beer.
Yeah, Brothers in
Howdy.
Booze, we're going big this week. We got all the from all sorts of places to postulate on some Mad Elf and other beers. So yeah, we got Kevin McKeever, we got Rod, and then we got Matt, and Greg obviously is with us as well. So I'm gonna do the diving in of my favorite Christmas beer, although your mileage may vary on that. And I'm sure we'll be discussing that shortly. So I'm going to pour that puppy right in my thing. So if you guys even can open it up if you want to pour yours as well.
Sounds like a plan.
We all got the Mad Elf here.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My little Duvel glass with the half naked folks.
Disclaimer, all of you guys have had this but me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
We're in for a treat, Greg.
Just a treat, such a treat here.
Always a nice feel
Hey,
to
leave
it.
the sarcasm for later, man.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
All right. Cheers, dudes.
Get a nice head on it. Bring out the
Okay,
aroma.
so the nose, I'm getting cherry.
You got to get that aroma out of it.
Right. Almost like a creek. I'm getting like heavy cherry.
Heavy cherry.
I'm getting like cherry like smashed on a brewery floor.
And then mopped up. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it's very creek-like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the smell is definitely more in the creek side.
Get nice spices out of it. A little cardamom.
Mm-hmm.
More cherry. Where's the cinnamon and nutmeg?
I'm getting a little bit of a nutmeg feel.
I'm getting no cinnamon.
I'm getting. You gotta get that bigger head. I put a two finger head on it. You get the aromas open up.
Yeah, it also has honey in it too. So
I get a little bit of a dark fruit action on the back of it.
Okay. So
In the cough syrup aftertaste.
here we go. So people who like this beer, in my opinion, here we go.
Here we
Yes.
Here we go.
Those
Right.
people, Greg?
Generalizing a whole group of people at once. So here we go. Let's start it off great. People who drink this beer like that Alberta Clipper by Great Lakes, a fruited porter. People who like this like fruited porters. Fruited porters suck.
Wow,
That's one man's opinion of it. I mean,
Hey,
you know.
coming in strong.
Porter that Greg doesn't like.
Okay, so did I just say that Mad Elf sucks?
Greg,
You
well,
kind of did.
I
You
love
kind of did, Greg.
Don't backtrack now. You're speaking the truth. You're on
Yeah,
the
This is
Keep
a
going.
very
You're
this
on
is a
a
very
roll.
decent beer.
This feels like a creek mixed with a stout, and to me, those two things don't go. For me,
It's very similar to like a barley wine.
Yeah,
No.
oh,
No, I get some of the
Do
qualities.
not insult Lord Barley.
No, I get dark
with
fruits
the-
like you get on the barley wine. You get some of that in here. You're getting that on mine.
well, that
Oh,
sweetness I think
man.
is maybe where you're kind of pointing towards because yeah,
No, I'm getting like some dark type fruits.
I'm getting dark,
I get that with barley wines.
Kevin,
but I'm
did-
not getting that heat that you get with a barley wine.
Mm.
but
No, not
no,
that.
no,
You're not getting
those
that.
dark fruits, yeah, and kind of like a Baltic porter.
Yeah.
and I'm not a big fan of Baltics. Kevin, what's going on with the Mad Elf? You said you haven't had it. Give us your history with it, and let's hear it.
Yes, let's hear this.
Yeah, so I believe it was Doug. I am almost positive it was Doug. On Daddy Porter was just like raving about how Mad Elf was their favorite Christmas beer, and they couldn't wait to have it, and and then there were a whole bunch of other people chiming in, going, "Oh yeah, that's great! I love that. It's my favorite." And I've had Troegs beers before, and I like almost all of them. So I was like, okay, good, let's play it. So I happened to see it at my local Total Wine, so I grabbed a 6 off of there, and I brought it home, and I got all excited, and I popped it open, and I poured it in my glass and took a big sip. And then I realized that for some reason, I never read anything on the package as to what was in it. and I just got the biggest taste of cherry cough syrup in my life. And I just had bad childhood memories, because when I was a kid, basically there were 2 types of cough syrup. There was cherry and grape. And if you got grape, it was a good day.
Yeah.
And so that I have just always had a thing. I just don't like cherry flavor in general. So, oh my God, I almost literally spit it out after I took that first swig. I think I got like 3 or 4 sips in it. I dumped it. I think I might have tried another one later on just to see if maybe I just was in a bad mood. And it wasn't any better. So the other 4, I think I just stuck into mixed 6-packs that I brought to people's houses, like for parties and stuff. And
Always a way to get rid of that.
I haven't been back to any of those parties, so that tells you how everyone else around here thinks about it.
Discreetly just push it on other people, like, oh yeah, this is like that hype. This is like that massive hype beer from that newly made macro distro.
It's got the cute little label on it and everything. And, oh, it's a nice, friendly little beer. Oh, I'm gonna have it. And then
Well, the last time
it's a total personal thing with me. I just am not a fan of cherry. I will say that maybe it's because I haven't had it in like 3 years, that it does not seem as awful as it was the first time I had it. Maybe it's because it caught me by surprise, but it's still not a beer I would normally drink.
I don't think it compared to years past, because I drink it every year, that the cherry is way less.
Usually
it's way more forward. So
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the cherry subdued this year, or have you felt?
Oh, it's definitely not subdued. That's not the word I'd use, but it's definitely not as punching you in the face as it normally is. It's definitely way more cherry forward usually, and you get that honey flavor on the end, which you still do with this, I think. So
I kind of meant subdued from where it used to be, meaning
that's fair.
Or if you say you have it every year, so have you felt it going down as far as the cherry goes, or
it's always
every year, I would say, right?
I think this year it's less on the cherry, and again, it's not like here was the cherry and now it's down here. It's just slight. It's a difference.
Hey Rod, what's your background with the old Mad Elf?
I've always enjoyed Mad Elf. I've had it over the years. I picked up a 6-pack once we found a place that got it this year here.
Ohio, right?
Yeah, Ohio. Well, I'm in Kentucky, Ohio. I'm on the border. I get Indiana stuff too, but it's a beer that I would say is actually for an acquired beer drinker. It's acquired taste that comes along with it. It's not going to be for everybody. People that dig into it, you look at it scored. I mean, it scores relatively well when you look at it on things like Untapped or Rate Beer. I mean, it's all about what you're feeling, what your palate is telling you. I enjoy beers like this. I would say it has like a little bit of a syrupy type feel to it as well, but I'm kind of used to it on some of the bigger beers. It's just it's a difference maker, and I like what Troegs did. I've always been a fan of Troegs, and think for what I would look for in this type of style, it definitely delivers.
Are you doing the blend?
Yeah, the blend on my keyboard here. But so yeah, what did I say?
Watch this. I always wonder how much Greg has had before you guys start.
Oh, this would have been the week to do it, and I didn't do it. But I usually start sober. This is the truth.
Well, the interesting thing is Greg has it in a can, and I've never seen it in a can.
Well, they came out with a 12-pack. So what they did with this 12-pack, which I sent to Greg, was they include Mad Elf and they include a chocolate stout, and they recommend doing something called a chocolate elf, where you mix half Mad Elf, half chocolate stout, and they call it a chocolate elf. And it's like like a chocolate cherry
It's like a
cordial
cuvee.
kind of flavor.
So you answer my question, Doug. It's 1-1, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that 12-pack when I was in the store earlier this week, and
It's expensive,
if I
though.
had 2 parties to go to, I could push the Mad Elf off on. I would have
Yeah.
bought it. Because all the other 5 beers looked really good.
Well, yeah. They also have Troganator, Perpetual IPA, Blizzard of Hops, and yeah, those 3.
Troganator's a pretty good one too.
That's a really good
Yeah,
one.
Troganator I really like.
That more your
Much
speed?
better. Much better. The chocolate takes the cherry. It doesn't take it out. It takes that. If you McKeever, you would love this, I think. Because it takes it completely, not completely, but puts it in the background, and it makes a chocolate like accent. And I don't know.
Like a chocolate covered cherry feel.
Like a chocolate covered cherry. Maybe I poured a little, maybe, again, it's about proportion, I would say. So if I poured probably half of the chocolate, I probably still get a lot of cherry. And you could probably mess around with it that way. But this is way better.
Well, I'm glad I sent the other one to kind of mitigate the cherry that was overwhelming you. Hey, Matt, you said, did you give us your background with the Mad Elf?
Yeah. So, I mean, living, I'm what, 45 minutes away from Trogs, an hour from Trogs. So like the year that Mad Elf like came out, it was insane around here. Like the hype, like everything, and just, I tried some at like a local, like high-end craft ale house, and I didn't like it then. The first year it came out, it was like all cherry. This is like, it's better. But it's like, it's, for me, in a sense, it's better in like, instead of adding 6 bags of cherry hulls to the mash tun, they only added 5 bags of cherry hulls to the mash tun. You know what I mean? Like I still don't like it. I think there was a lot of hype for it, but it is what it is. I like a lot of the other Trogue stuff though.
Yeah. I remember when it first came out, just like trying to find it was like, is really difficult. It was almost like the old hype around Bourbon County Stout and KBS and stuff, where you were like, you had to go on, like, you had to know somebody who knew where to get it and could hold some for you. It was pretty much like that. Now that's not the case anymore. You can get it all over the place, but yeah.
And there are like all these other variations of it, right? There's like Naked Elf and a couple other things that they make. I've never seen anything other than Mad Elf where I am.
Well, the Naked Elf you'd like because it takes the cherries out of it.
Yes.
So it's like how it's made before they put the cherries and the honey in.
Yeah.
So
it's a honey flavored Belgian beer then?
Yeah.
So a couple of things that jump off at me as we look at this, look at their write-up. First of all, this beer does not drink like an 11%, but I guess that's the alcohol that I get. I get a little bit of it, but I think that's where, Rod's a little bit. I know Matt's going to always push back on the barley wine thing because Matt is a barley wine is life guy. So he protects his barley wine. He loves them. We'll let him talk about that a little bit. But, that 11% kind of plays into what you're saying, though, Rod. Like, it's a big ass beer. Like, and it doesn't drink as big. And naturally, when you add the chocolate, it doesn't add as big.
Yeah. And I've drank a lot of barley wines. I'm just saying, to me, I get some of the barley wine crossover and some of the fruit feel of it.
Yeah, no, I'm actually when I first heard it, I was like, man, I was like, whoa. But then as I progress to it, it gets a little warmer. I'm with you, but I don't see. This is where I'm gonna really critique him. I don't. Are you guys getting any cocoa notes? Any cinnamon? Clove? I'm not getting any of that in here.
I get clove. No. I get clove, and I said like nutmeg, but that's like a little bit of the allspice I get in there as well. But again, like you highlighted a point there where you said
tail end that it's warming up.
Oh, hold on, Kevin. What did you say, Rod?
Well, I say you highlighted a point. Like for you, like when you were scrolling through, I saw you highlight Belgian ale. See, Belgian ale is my favorite style, so I drink a lot of Belgian type ales, and so that's why this also appeals to me. So I get some of the stuff like clove when I have stuff with coriander, and those kind of things come through to me a lot easier because I drink so many of them. So I do get some of that stuff in there.
Yeah, see, I'm not getting the Belgian at all, so I don't know about that. Kevin, what were you gonna say?
I said I get a hint of clove. I'm not really getting any cinnamon. I now that it's warmed up a little bit and it's been open, at the very end you get a little bit of that peppercorn like tingle on the end of your tongue and the tip of your tongue. But other than that, I'm not getting any allspice or cinnamon in it.
And keep in mind, depends how long you have this thing open as well. Because if you're taking it from the fridge, this is something you want to have like around that 50 to 55 kind of range that has everything kick out of the flavors and the aroma. So that as it warms up, that does open up more. If you took it out and it was a little more colder.
Actually, mine was. I didn't put my. I didn't.
You didn't put
realize-
yours in the fridge?
I didn't put it in until like an hour before.
Okay.
So it got a little bit cool, but it was probably around that 50. It was probably right where I needed it when I pumped it out. So I'm happy about where I was as far as the temperature goes.
Hey, Greg, Whit Honey was asking, what's the ABV on the chocolate stout?
Oh yeah, let's get over there. Let me look at that real quick here. Let's see here. Going over.
I grabbed one of Whit's favorite Christmas beers for this too. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm not. So another thing I'm not getting while I look for this chocolate stout. Are you guys getting any? Rod, you said you get the Belgian out of it. I don't taste any Belgian beer out of this. I don't.
I do.
I think the only thing that I get out of it is more of the like. Again, it's kind of almost teeters the line when he was saying barley wine, or you get that Belgian ale that's like more in the sweeter end. Like when you get in those kind of realms, I think that's where maybe I would get out of it. But like, it's not like I wouldn't go, oh, it's a Belgian ale. 7.1. Woo, baby. I didn't think it was that high.
I get a little. I can smell. I get the Belgian, that distinctive Belgian odor a little bit.
Yeah, the yeast.
On the yeast when I smell it, and a little bit on the front end, but just
I get it. It's warming up, Rod. I smell it.
Yeah, and the clove is a big thing of Belgian ales that they use. So I mean, you put that with the yeast, it comes out as that Belgian. That's what we were talking about in the chat before. Like I was saying, how we look at the Christmas beers versus it. I'm like, well, it's actually a Belgian dark ale. If you're going to really put it into contrast, that's where you really would stand it up against some of the more competition it would go against.
And then this is where this makes Mad Elf different than a lot of other Christmas beers, because a lot of the Christmas beers start with a stout base, mostly. Or an ale base, right? I mean, we've seen.
Yeah, you get a bunch of ales, Christmas ales.
Yeah, I mean, stouts are ales, so you still got,
Right, but not like, I don't know, because this one here I'm about to try is more of I can almost see through the glass.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's an interesting dynamic, Christmas ales, because it gets splashed. It's like, it's not like IPA, but it does get splashed on a lot of different beers. And I think like what is it? Just because you can put cinnamon and nutmeg in it, it gets. I mean, what makes a Christmas ale? Because I don't even know if there's a BJCP thing in it. But to me, you got to have to me, I'm gonna nitpick this beer because I'm not getting the nutmeg and shit that I want out of it from a fucking Christmas ale. Sorry.
I mean, out of the Christmas ale or out of the Mad Elf?
Matt finished the whole thing. Look at that trooper.
Matt.
Yeah, man.
Look, I might not like it, but I will not. I refuse to abuse alcohol.
Never leave the soldier behind.
Right. That's a true beer drinker right there. I may not like it, but damn it, I'll finish it.
Yeah.
Or he's like, I'm just gonna slam it. Like I'm not gonna. There's no nurturing this one. I'm just gonna put it down.
The problem is slamming that beer is that's 11%. That's not the one to be trifled with. But all right, you're opening the Christmas ale next. You said.
Yeah, but I still have this whole. I refilled myself up with this. This Mad Elf and this chocolate is the way to go, in my opinion.
I will tell you, I'm getting the honey coming through nicely now on it.
Yeah, now that it warms up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of a different beer when it warms up. It gets less cherry for me. But yeah, for the record, I'm not a big fan.
You follow your palate. You always follow your palate.
But this chocolate though.
The only problem with that is the only place you can get that I know of. I have never seen the chocolate stout distributed on its own by them. It's only in a 12-pack.
Wow.
Which that 12-pack is fucking expensive.
Last year or the year before, they had a chocolate stout in one of in their seasonal pack. I don't know if it was the same one or not, but yeah, I never see it on its own. I only see it in the mixed packs.
Yeah, it was in that 12-pack last year. So yeah, sorry.
No worries. Anyone ever been to the brew pub?
Trogs?
Yeah, anyone been to Trogs?
No.
I have not. I did a thing with them online where I did like an interview for the blog and stuff where we did some stuff to highlight them. But I never been there. I met their people at a lot of the beer events. In fact, I'll be meeting them again here in February. I'm sorry, in March. We have the huge Cincinnati Beer Fest, and they'll be back up for that.
That's cool.
Nice,
Matt,
nice.
you're pretty close. You haven't been?
To Trogs?
Yeah.
No, I've not been out there. It just
So, I'm the only one.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
wife has been there.
Oh, okay. To me, it's highly recommended. It's literally right under. It's right under on the roller coaster out there in Hershey, right under it. It's a really nice place. I completely highly recommend it. I was blown away. I thought the beers were excellent when I was there. The thing about it was interesting is that like sitting there and talking to the guys about how much Hershey Park has an influence on anything that they do there.
Mhm.
They can't have a full kitchen because Hershey said no. Hershey was in everything. Like it was just interesting about how like Hershey pretty much controls that whole city. I mean, I guess it's called Hershey, Pennsylvania, so they should, right? But
Yeah.
it was just interesting talking to the guys, talking about how it's pretty big out there. I don't know if you've ever been. It's a big place, nice place, but they're like, we're really restricted by Hershey. I've been.
How did they end up not getting the? How did Yingling end up doing the Hershey Porter then, and Trogs not getting it then?
Well, Yingling is because I'm actually from outside there in New Jersey, but we spent a lot of time in Hershey as a kid going to Hershey Park and visiting that area.
Huh?
But Yingling is huge on the East Coast. They're the oldest brewery. They're out of Eastern PA. And the reason they got it was the oldest brewery versus Hershey being like the oldest candy maker. They made a nice combination together and
Makes sense.
were able to come and get that deal.
They were
And that's a pretty good beer if you haven't had it. It's
oh,
pretty good. It's pretty tasty.
It's basically it's like taking a can of Hershey syrup and
It's
mixing it with and carbonating it.
like, am I drinking a Hershey's bar right now?
Yeah, it's like thinner, but it tastes. Yeah, I mean, I had it at a bar here about a month ago,
Yeah.
and it smells exactly like Hershey syrup. It just tastes like a really thin, carbonated version of Hershey syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me out here, that was the thing. It took a little bit of time to hunt it down because not everybody was getting it. They were only putting it out in kegs. So you had to be somewhere where it had it on tap. And I found a place that actually had it and picked up a crowler of it, did one of the reviews on the YouTube channel. But it was definitely worth a little bit of a grab to see. And being for me, from being back there, it's a nostalgia of Hershey Park and then Yingling together. So a lot of high school at nights drinking Yingling in the backyard. You know what I mean?
Preach. I live in Wisconsin, but I'm from Eastern Pennsylvania, so
Yeah.
this all, man.
Yo, Greg, I gotta interject here real quick. So
All right.
I was working on someone's computer the other day at work, and it was their personal computer, and they sit it down in front of me, and it has a form sticker on it, like from the place in Kensington down Murder Alley that we went.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like,
Fermentary
so then
form.
we started talking about like sour beers and stuff. I made a beer friend at work.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Fermentary form. Fantastic. You got it. Matt and I we can talk about it forever, actually.
Yeah.
It
I'm
really
gonna crack another beer.
was down in Murder Alley too. It literally was. What you got?
I'm gonna crack another beer called
Yeah.
Buried Alive 3 from the Vale.
Is that a Christmas ale?
It is not a Christmas ale. It is a triple dry hopped IPA.
There you go.
But the man's like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? To some it is. So he's reaching out. He's branching out.
I linked it in our group chat too, if you guys want to check it out. So it's a combo of Galaxy, Citra, Nelson, and Mosaic hops. Triple dry hops.
Oh.
Okay. I was gonna say, anybody else? Doug, do you have a Christmas ale? Buried Alive.
I have another one. Yeah. Kevin, how about you? What do you got on
Yeah,
tap?
I've got. I just opened up. This is Connecticut's oldest microbrewery. It's Thomas Hooker. It's their nor'easter beer,
Hmm.
and it's a I remember when I first had it, when I first saw it, maybe 5 years ago. I remember the 6-pack it came in. It was like very big. That it was like warming apple spice flavors, apple pie spice flavors, which was odd. I never saw a beer that, like, you know, you see pumpkin pie spice obviously all the time in October. So this year's version of it, apparently I was reading some stuff online, and it seems in the last couple of years, I don't think I had it last year. They've kind of mellowed out the apple pie spice a little bit. It's a lot milder than it used to be. Because I remember when I first had it, the apple pie spice hit you in the face. You got a lot of apple and cinnamon and nutmeg.
So Kevin, what's this beer called?
It's called Nor'easter. It's up on the right-hand side of the screen. Go up a little bit. Right there, right? Your mouse is on it right now.
Winter lager.
Now this is a lager. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I noticed now that they advertise it. It says mild winter spices. They don't emphasize that it's apple pie.
Which I'm not sure I go, if it's winter spices, I'm not sure I go apple pie.
Yeah, I'm not either. I thought it was kind of an odd choice. And like I said, this is like the only beer I think I've ever had that apple pie spice has been featured in it. And I think I picked this especially not just because it's a Connecticut beer, but because I think people have the same reaction to this that they do with Mad Elf, because if you don't like cherry, it's going to throw you off. And if you don't like apple, if you're not expecting apple pie in a beer, it's going to throw you off. But now, like I said, the version that's come out this year, and I've been doing a little research on it the last couple of years. They've changed the recipe some, and it's much milder than it used to be. But you do get it, especially on the tail end when it gets warm.
Dang. And what was I just saying, RC, about how most winter, I want to say most Christmas ales are ales or stouts.
Right.
Now we got a lager here.
The lager, right? Yeah. So different ones, mix it up for sure.
We're always a little different than everybody else in Connecticut, you know.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that. You guys do a good job up there. So.
We were talking about that too, Rubes, and yeah, cheers to that. But no, I am fascinated by how many different styles that brewers are making these Christmas ales. Fascinated. Love it. What you got, Doug?
I'm going classic. This is from Anchor Steam. Their holiday ale.
Oh, I want this. Yes, I want it, and I can't find it. I want that.
Yeah, this is our buddy Whit, who was commenting earlier. This is every year he comments how this is his favorite Christmas ale. So this is 7% ABV. They only make it for a very limited time, and it's an ale. I'm going back to Christmas ale style. The nose is pretty simple, just like ale smell. It doesn't have a lot of spice smell to it.
Matt, we'll get back to your triple IPA in a second.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't forget about that.
What's interesting is
Matt might be on the floor after downing that on the Mad Elf, and now he's on a triple IPA.
Yeah.
Hey, it matches the ABV. This is another 11%er. We'll get to it. You guys do your thing.
They talk about the toffee, and there's definitely the caramel and coffee flavors that they're talking about in there. They're very subtle and mixed. There was something else they had put in there. It does have a roasty flavor to it. So
Mexican chocolate.
I don't get that, but the roasty part, the roasted malts, that's definitely in there. This is a really good, smooth drinking beer. Like you could drink, it's 7%, doesn't drink like that, drinks more like 5%. And it's definitely very smooth and very easily drinkable. So
yeah, I can't recall ever having the Anchor Christmas ale. It is a little different every year, but I don't remember it ever really being spicy. It usually is. That is one of the key characteristics of it. It's got a lot. It's got that really roasty malt flavor, and it really is a smooth beer.
Yeah, definitely good. Cheers.
Nice.
All right, Matt, what you got, Matt? You got we have a Rod. Rod didn't even get a second beer.
Hold on, Doug. I actually want to ask if anybody else has had. McKeever, you said you've had this, but Rod and Matt, you ever have the Anchor Christmas ale?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Last year, I actually on one of the shows, I ended up getting a good deal. Though I got like a 50-ounce bottle of the 2018 of the Anchor, so I had that, and it was good. And each year I try to check it out to see. I didn't pick up the 2019. I did see it here, but it's always a nice beer to have to see what they do, because every year they change the tree on their label. And the one guy that paints the labels now, that does the artwork, he's 92. They just did a story about him. I don't know if you guys saw that online or not. So he's, I mean, I'm not to say something's going to happen to him, but you don't know how much longer he has. So it's kind of an interesting thing to keep checking out with him being older and stuff now. But it's always a fascinating beer. And they're the only one in the country that can use the steam label for steamed beers.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. But I'm going to actually jump into one I haven't had in a few years. I actually saw, he said, you know what? I'll pick that up. I actually have two more here. And one I have is actually, because I'm into the Belgian, I have a Belgian dark ale, a true Belgian dark ale. But this is actually going to be the Southern Tier 2 Xmas, and I'm going to actually pour here.
I picked it up, and
if I would have made it to Fresh Fest, I would have been at Southern Tier in Pittsburgh. But as Greg knows, I didn't make that trip because I broke my wrist. So
making it this year, brother.
Oh, I definitely am.
There are straws.
the other wrist to drink.
Yeah. So this one's like an 8% ABV. So
let's see here. Let's pull up this Southern Tier with the diabetes stouts, right?
yeah, right.
I actually picked that one up, Rod. I just didn't bring it out for the show the 2 times.
You didn't. Well, and I picked up the one that you picked up there too, and I was like, I'll get this one. I haven't had this in a while.
Yeah.
I like this one. I don't know if you guys ever had Swipe Light.
No.
I thought it was pretty tight, actually. It's just a really light lager kind of thing, but it has some flavor to it. It's not like, like a flavorless lager. Yeah. And I love the cans. The cans are slick. So anyway, let's find out where we're at here. The cinnamon roll. It wasn't that good. You guys have it?
I've had it before. It is.
I haven't done the cinnamon.
It is sweet and spicy.
Yeah, it wasn't. I was hoping for better out of that one.
Here
we go.
Times Xmas.
There we go.
So this is
spice double ale. Okay. Ooh, what is fig paste?
Just ground down figs into a paste. That's all.
I've never seen that on a beer. That's great. Orange peels.
Fig paste. Weird.
Cardamom. Yeah. Cinnamon cloves. Okay. Yeah. Blue cheese sausages.
8% ABV.
Ooh. Yeah. 8%.
And the other thing I was going to say, the thing that popped in my mind when you're having the Mad Elf is actually fruitcake. It reminds me of.
Oh, that's why.
No one likes fruitcake.
That doesn't help the argument. I know that, Kevin. I know it doesn't. I know it doesn't help the argument, but it just pops in the head. Fruit. I said the same thing before. Like I would never eat fruitcake, but it does remind me of fruitcake.
No one gets excited about fruitcake.
There's no logic in beer drinking, Kevin. For the longest time, I still hate coconut outside of beer, but I can drink a beer with coconut now.
Yes, Rod. Yes.
Yo, same. 100% same.
Somebody gives me a piece of coconut cake. I'm like, get that shit out of here.
Healthy cake.
Right.
Fuck that.
My cake is just frosting, no coconut.
What are you getting out of that beer, Rod?
Yeah, what you getting out of this, Rod?
It's kind of interesting because, and I'll go back to Kevin, how he talked about, like, he thought he felt like cough syrup or whatever. You do feel, if someone that was like a novice drinking, like kind of a medicine type feel, if they were to pick this up for the first time, it's one that you have to build up. It's almost got like a wintergreen type effect to it as well, which doesn't sound all that great when you're thinking about a beer, but it kind of works into it if you're looking for something to kind of be a nice little sipper to enjoy. If you kind of like some of the spice type ales that are out there, it's got a little bit of a funkiness kind of to it when you think about it, but it tends to work. You do get some of the orange coming out. You do get that ginger. You get the cinnamon. You get the cloves. Again, being a Belgian drinker, I love the cloves when they come out of beer, so that kind of works for me. A little bit of that cardamom, which it was so funny. Like a few years ago, I was like trying to figure out what cardamom was, and I realized I used to cater back in the day, and some of the rolls we would serve had cardamom in them. And I was like, that's where I remember that smell from, because there was like a special cardamom butter we would put into the rolls and stuff. So
Yeah.
It's always funny when you hear things in beer and you're like, what the hell is that? I don't know what that is. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, I have had that before. Like,
I was at a brewery up in Providence, Rhode Island, and cardamom was featured in one of the things. And the chef happened to pop out of the. We were talking to the bartender, and we said, like, what is cardamom? I've heard of it. And the chef actually went back and found some for us so we could try it. It's lemony, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's got a little bit of a little bit of a bitter type feel to it, but it's got like a little bit of kind of a lemony type finish, I guess you can say as well. And it's interesting, but they throw it in here and it goes along with it.
Now I'm looking at the description of that beer that Greg had up there, and it said it's based on Glog. Have you ever had Glog before?
Oh,
Glog or grog?
Glog.
Oh no, I see it there now. Yeah, I never had that before.
I have had Glog.
And how was your take on Glog?
It's not something you can drink in big quantities. It is like really, it's a very thick, spacey, and I think most of the stuff that's described here kind of is in it.
I think that
I think it was some
Nordic
Swedish.
drinks.
I think we either had some in Amsterdam or somebody brought some for us or something.
Well, it's funny you said Nordic tradition.
It's like a warmed, it's like what they drink it like cocoa, and
Right.
acquired taste.
Well, it's funny because
you're in Sweden in the wintertime and you're freezing. I could see how you need that Danny freeze for you. But
when you say Glog, I had a thing of Vikings pop in my head, but then I saw where Greg highlighted Nordic tradition. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. Like,
it's funny they say unlike Glog, we recommend serving it chilled. So I guess it's like Kevin says, it's served warm.
Yeah.
And when it's warm, and Glog, and you warmed, and then you really get everything out of it.
I'm good.
I will say you will get a tinge of a black licorice feel in here too, so that's in there as well. So if you're not a fan of black licorice, which again is one of those things I'm not a fan outside of beer, but I've learned to become accustomed to it in some of the different beer styles.
True.
Even in beer, I can't do it. Like Jägermeister ruined me.
Oh, Jägermeister!
Yeah. Man.
Jägermeister and Ouzo. I'm like, why would you drink these things?
I used to party with the deer way too much.
You really weren't like in college if you weren't ruined at least once by Jägermeister.
Yeah.
No, this is true.
all right.
So Matt, what do you have over there? You have
The triple IPA thing.
yeah, what's going on?
Yeah. So the Veil, the way they name their beers, their singles will have a name. So a single version of this, I think, is actually called Dirt Nap. And then they have Dirt Nap Nap, which is like the double IPA. And then their triple IPA, they decided to do Buried Alive with the power of 3. But it would be, buried alive, essentially. It's awesome. It looks like orange juice in a glass. I don't know if it'll be on their website because they really quickly like run through all of their stuff.
Again.
But
Right, first of all, they named a beer Bourbon Wang Doodle. Holy shit!
Yeah, they did.
Everybody Wayne Doodle tonight. Yeah.
Really. I might be doing that later.
The one underneath it is Bourbon Misery Wizard.
I would say I've heard about the Veil and I've heard how good their beers were. They're definitely when I get back on the East Coast, I definitely want to try to get some.
Beer dose with coffee and cherries. You'll be hating that one.
Oh, they got a maple apple brandy Wang Doodle. Dude, if you ever get a chance to get a brandy barrel aged beer, definitely do it. So some of the breweries are experimenting with that, and it's been freaking awesome.
Yo, it's funny that you bring that up. I have a bottle of Circle of Wolves from the Veil from 2 years ago. That was apple brandy barrel. And I've just been sitting on it.
I might need a moment.
I'm going to be pouring that soon and drinking that.
Oh my gosh. Some of the brandy barrel aged stuff I had has been just phenomenal. Like, why don't more breweries get into it? I've had some gin barrel beers that have been good. I've had some tequila barrel aged that's been good. But the brandy overall, I mean, although the bourbon, kind of people will go with, the brandy has been the one that I think stuck out the most as being one that I really enjoy.
Tequila ones I'm mostly out on because college. but
Randy, in college, where did you go?
not brandy. The ones that are tequila age.
Oh, tequila.
yeah.
I had that experience where it's one of those things that where I drank so much of it one time that for 20 years, if I smelled it, I would like retch.
Mm.
I have the same thing with Southern Comfort.
Oh,
Southern
Okay.
Comfort. I still enjoy Southern Comfort. That's one of my favorite drinks in college.
That was one of the first things I got totally,
yeah.
totally full on in college.
I'm gonna ruin this. I'm gonna ruin this conversation and say Mad Dog 2020, but that's
Yeah. I've had 2020 days too. Yeah.
Boone's Farm wine too. Yeah.
Yeah. Boone's Farm. Yeah.
Think about that shit. That's
Wild Irish Rose.
Oh.
so. Instead of thinking about Mad Dog 2020, I'm going to introduce Great Lakes Christmas Ale. This is one all you guys should be familiar with, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A great beer from Great Lakes.
Yeah, except me. Like I said, we don't get Great Lakes out where we are.
Yeah, I don't get a lot of Great Lakes either.
So you guys have never had this.
No, I don't think I've ever had a Great Lakes beer.
I've only had whatever the Fitzgerald is.
Change that.
Edmund Fitzgerald.
Hey,
Okay.
so next year we're doing this one. How about that? Next year we'll make sure Kevin and Matt have this one.
Yeah.
Sweet.
This one, this is the first Christmas beer that I have back in the day when I first started getting into craft beer. This is one that I actually hunt for. This is one that people here we go. I'm outing myself, but everybody knows I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. Sorry. So as a Cleveland Browns fan,
Get fans. You apologize.
A Cleveland Browns fan.
look at that reaction I got. Look at that.
You drink a lot if you're a Cleveland Browns fan.
You're the most real Browns fan out there. Period. Hands down. Most real Cleveland Browns fan. 100%.
Cheers. But the Browns is how I found this beer because all the Browns fans would like talk about it. And again, you're a Browns fan. You have to drink during these games. There's just no, you know,
You can't get
There's no way to get through it.
right. You gotta be intoxicated to watch the Cleveland Browns. So, but this beer was one that like, I don't know, everybody's like Christmas ale, Christmas ale, Christmas ale. And somehow Wisconsin has always been a place that has had it. It's just interesting because, you know, again, Cleveland is what, 100 miles or not even 100 miles from Pennsylvania. You guys can't get it. And I'm out here in Wisconsin and I get all kinds of Great Lakes stuff. This
Yeah,
is
I can
one
get
though.
up here in upstate New York, which is weird because I'm between most of you guys.
Well, is it all Pennsylvania? 'Cause I think I have friends in Pennsylvania that have gotten it before. I just wonder if it's certain distribution.
Or maybe they got, you know, maybe they went and got it, or I don't know. I'm not sure. But this is to me, this is the quintessential, or this is when you say Christmas ale, this is the one I think of. It has those spices, the cinnamon, the cloves and the cherries and the honey, and it's just a really nice balance. I remember it being bigger than 7.5% though.
That's not nothing, man.
Yeah, I think it was bigger than that before.
It's light. It has those cinnamon and ginger flavors and all that, but they just fall off quick. They're not there forever. They let you know they're there. It's still a little there, but it's not like overpowering. It's really, really nice. If you could actually get a balance, this is probably close to as balanced as you get as a Christmas ale. With all due respect to Great Lakes, a lot of their offerings I find kind of safe. So they're not really risky. They're not really, again, this group here that I'm looking at, we like flavors. We like different flavors. Especially when I'm talking I know Matt Clark for sure. And I know Rod a little bit. I haven't drank beer with you in person, but I know you like those big flavors.
Yeah.
Show
me something.
This is as big as flavor as Great Lakes gets, in my opinion. Their porter is amazing. It's one of the best porters ever. So I'm not going to talk about that. It's just fantastic. And it's fantastic that they can just distribute it that wide and it still be fantastic. This is another one. The rest of their beers are okay. But this is one I think you should seek out. I love this beer. I think it's the quintessential style. I think it's what people should strive for. I love it. Cheers.
The one thing I was going to say about your picture that I actually love on there, and I wish there were people, if anybody's watching and they work in a bar, pour a beer like that Because I hate going to these beers, these places, and they try to squeeze out with like no head because you're killing it for the foam and you're killing it for what you want to get out of a good craft beer. Poured, that's how a beer is supposed to be poured.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
100%. Like that right there is a 10-ounce glass, and that is how a 10-ounce glass should be poured.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I was like, you get these, and it's like, they're like, oh, we're trying to pour it out. We don't give you too much. You don't understand. You're supposed to give the head. That gives the aroma. That
You're
lets out the
supposed to give
gases.
the
That
Right,
lets
you're
out the
supposed to
proteins.
give head.
And I don't want to feel bloated in an hour. Pour the damn glass right. Who doesn't have a certified beer server certificate around here?
The best line of this show is you're supposed to give head.
Yeah.
Period.
You win.
Over. Done. In fact, I'm clicking the end to this whole conversation because we don't even need to talk anymore.
Oh, man.
Cheers,
hear-
God, cheers.
Cheers, brother. But to hear comment on Great Lakes, I think you're right. A lot. Some of their stuff they do go safe on, but like their Noforostu is a nice red ale, Imperial Red you can get. Their Lake Erie Monster is a nice one that stands out. So they have a couple that are out there a little bit, but I think it's kind of almost like a Sierra Nevada or a Southern Tier. Southern Tier branches out more, but like Sierra Nevada kind of plays it safe on a lot of their stuff, but occasionally come out other things to push the envelope.
Yeah, and you know what? I love Great Lakes. Again, you got to go there when you go to Cleveland. You got to go. But like Great Lakes gives you that perspective. But you know, we have so many small, great breweries, and you know, you guys could probably sit here and name like 5 or 6 small, great breweries that give you that non-safe beer that you can enjoy. You know, Great Lakes, in my opinion. Like, you know, you can go anywhere for your different, you know, your risky beers and your big beers. So, Doug, do you have anybody else have anything else to open or?
Yeah, I haven't.
How about we do this? The word from
I got one.
I got one too. If we go another one, I got another one. So
Matt, Doug, what's up?
So I say we think we do the sponsors. So why don't we start with Kevin? We've had Rod and we've had Matt on our show before, so they can give us a nice rundown. But let's start with Kevin. What you got going outside of beer?
Yes.
Well, I'm a freelance writer and editor. I am the web editor for City Dads Group,
Yay.
the parenting website for fathers, and then I do a column for my local paper, the Stanford Advocate. And I actually started doing. I've done work for businesses, like for a bath company up in Canada. I've done stuff for small businesses all around. But actually, I just started doing some work for the guy who runs ConnecticutBeer.com. So I actually do some beer-related work now. So I do help him. I do some writing and some work for him.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. What's that website again?
ConnecticutBeer.com. And he also runs BeerFest.com, which actually sells tickets to beer festivals all over the country.
That's a good one to have.
that's a nice one.
Yeah. Yeah, he works with festivals and with breweries to kind of like, he runs the ticket sales. He's the point of sale for a lot of them. He's big. They're big on the East Coast, but he does have stuff all over the country from what I've seen. But ConnecticutBeer.com, it focuses on beers in Connecticut. He's actually a brand ambassador for the Connecticut Tourism Bureau. So it's kind of nice that I've been doing some stuff with him to promote some local breweries. They've been having food pairing nights with local restaurants, which has been pretty good. So, and then I'm a stay-at-home dad with my last kid getting ready to go to college. So I'm looking forward to it.
Stay-at-home dads.
Yes.
Come together. Boom.
That's why I had to get a new dog, because I needed something. I needed a new child to raise.
That's cool. So, Doug, you have another beer?
I do, man. So I'm going to stick with the Great Lakes theme.
Oh,
I have a Great Lakes beer that I fucking love that only comes out around this time of year. So, well, it's not
Really?
technically a Christmas beer.
okay. I wonder what this one is.
Blackout
Ooh.
Imperial Stout.
Oh, that's a fucking great one.
That is a great beer by them.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, and it only comes around out this time of year.
One of the non-safe ones for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's a big beer. It's 9.9% ABV, but Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I saw that actually when I was going down to pick up Mad Elf because I'd run out of my supply. Saw this and I went, oh man, I got to get some more of that. So
I was able to pick up a barrel aged blackout stout when I was there.
what?
So maybe I'll bring that shit your way this spring.
I will love you forever, Greg.
Here we go.
A long time.
Look at that. I'm
Yo, our New York trip
moving,
that I'm sure we will talk about here.
I'm moving in, Joe. Is Jill there?
Oh, Jill's not. She's upstairs, but she wouldn't care. You know that.
I do know that. She wouldn't care.
Yeah. So there's a nice.
Oh, big, beautiful blackout stout. One of the best ones. You guys should try. You ever have this one, Matt? You've had blackout stout, right? Or no?
No, I have not.
That's one up your alley, brother.
Smells so good, nice and roasty, right on the nose.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had that one before. The only thing I had the issue with, I thought it was a little too thin for me.
Oh,
It's not as
Yeah.
not as thick as a normal stout. That's for
Yeah.
sure. It almost is almost like a porter,
But the flavors are good on it. It was just a little thinner than I would want.
but it's real roasty and it tastes like an imperial porter more than imperial stout to me. But
where
man,
we? Does it say
All
ABV?
stouts are porters.
no, but it's freaking delicious.
Right. Somebody.
It works.
We gotta get her in here. Somebody tell my friend Afro Beer Chick that stouts are porters. But whatever. It's,
I told her that. She knows that.
yeah, but she don't want to listen though.
Well, Afro Beer Chick is Afro Beer Chick, so it takes a little bit of time sometimes.
Oh, I already know.
Yeah.
Came on Daddy Porter show and just tore down Porter. So that lady's got. I mean,
You got her
right,
right.
right.
Yeah, she's on the list when I'm back in Chicago for us to do some drinking. So
Oh, I can't wait to visit her. She's just so much fun. But
Yeah.
no, sometimes Rod, you're on point though. Like a lot of people say, as far like if it's a thin stout, they're like, oh, this is porterish.
yeah, it's one of those. I just did a video a while back about the difference between a porter and stout and kind of explained it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like stout. All stouts, they came from porters. So it was actually called a stout porter when it came out. That's essentially, we don't even really need the stout name anymore. You could just call it imperial porters, and it's just going to be a thicker type porter. But people are so used to the differences between them now.
Right. I like that. If
You're dealing between roasted versus unroasted, you know. But now the line gets blurred, right? Because, and you probably know this as well, Matt, is like these breweries are like doing stuff they weren't supposed, like some of the unroasted are now using roasted. Like, wait a minute, now you're just going back to using the other. It's like, now that's why everybody's confused. You're doing stuff you're not supposed to do in that style.
I honestly, I think the best trend right now in these microbreweries is to just kind of like buck the mold essentially, and just be like, we're just gonna be wild with it. Like this, like Tired Hands. I'm actually like wearing one of their shirts right now. Tired Hands around here, they just like they're making half wine, half beer hybrid stuff. They're barrel aging stouts in red wine wine barrels and stuff like that. Like they're just doing out there stuff, and it's incredible. It's just, it's just they're really pushing the boundaries of what a beer can be, and it's just incredible.
And that's what makes it such a great golden age for beer drinkers right now. Just all these different things that are being done. It's like, here's your canvas. Use whatever paint you want. Let's see what you come up with.
Yeah, but
Stop
not
about seltzers. Stop it. Who cares? Serious.
however,
Stop.
I'd like to comment on Rod saying that not every canvas turns into a Picasso. However,
That's true. You're not going to have everybody out there. I mean, some people aren't going to make those. So it's a starving art, right? So the artists starve sometimes. So
Right.
you got to be. That's why I think a lot of breweries go to more small batch process and test it out first before we put a lot of stuff behind it.
So
Right.
Kevin,
Man, Tired Hands is one of those places they're like Picasso, though. When it comes down to it, they just they always hit. Like even when they try something and it's not good, it's still on Untapped getting like 3.9s.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. It's just
their
so good.
their worst beers are like another brewery's best beers.
Yeah.
Right. Honestly, that's kind of where they're at.
I mean, I'm gonna go on record. I'm gonna go on record right now and say I'm jealous of Matt because he's already mentioned Tired Hands. He's mentioned Vale. Like two of the people on my list, I need to get some of their beers. I'm not saying it's a man. I'm not saying it's a man crush yet, but it might get there at some point.
You should have heard
We
me
can leave the
ragging
chat room.
on Greg to not stay at the Tired Hands Beer Garden longer and get another beer. I was like, dude, just get another beer. Like, go buy some of these bottles to take home with you. Like, get some dry hop
Put that one
saison
bottle.
goodness
I
for
should have bought that one
yourself.
bottle. There. I should have bought that one bottle. You're right.
Yeah. Yo, Greg, I'm not even gonna lie. I have a bottle of it upstairs. I was going to bring it on this show and just crack one. Just talking about how amazing it is.
Just to being thick, right? I got you. We gotta like that. We gotta like that. So let's move on quick here. Kevin, you had another beer?
Yes, I've got. I know Doug is familiar with this. This is a Two Roads Holiday Ale.
Oh,
And Greg will be impressed. This is a holiday beer that is not a lager. I'm sorry, that's not a stout or an ale. It is a Bière de Garde, which apparently is a rare. It's kind of like an odd French style beer. It's kind of like the strong pale ale. It's got some reminiscent a bit of a farmhouse ale. And
like, me and I see like, yeah,
a little bit of Saison type feel.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
It's got that kind of that farmhouse saison, like kind of like funky smell to it when you smell it, and a little bit on the taste. And it's just it's a really nice. They've been making it only. Two Roads has only been around since like 2012, I think. But apparently they're the biggest brewery now in Connecticut, and they are out all over the East Coast pretty much.
Yeah, we get
really?
of it down here in Binghamton, New York. I mean,
Yeah,
I see I like all their Gosa lines. They had so many Gosas we got from them that was just ridiculous. Like I just how many we got.
Yeah. And they are just really solid overall. I mean, and I am not a fan of Goes beers, with the exception of the Goes beers, and especially they made a Chardonnay Brut one, which another beer I literally spit out on the ground. I was at a beer fest, and I'm like, oh, I've never had that. Let me try it. And I think it was the first Brut IPA I ever had too. And I just could not take it.
Brut IPAs, man. I've had one or two good ones. I've had a ton of shitty ones in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
this is like it's odd because it's it's an odd style. It's not a spiced beer, so it's really it's this really it's a nice smooth drinking beer. It's like 7.5% or something. But
I like the lacing on the glass too.
Funk to it. It doesn't have cinnamon or cloves or nutmeg or any of that traditional stuff you expect in a Christmas beer. It's a really nice change of taste.
Can we see the label again, Kevin?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, for some reason the website is not pulling up for me.
Holiday.
That's odd.
I don't know what the hell.
That's something I've seen a lot of, so I'm surprised they don't have that on their site.
No, it is on the site. I just looked it up a little bit before.
Oh, I can't.
Kevin was showing it. Everybody crashed the website for Two Roads.
About what? Greg.
It just like goes to nowhere. Man.
Yeah, we just got Two Roads here in Ohio and Kentucky. They were at our last beer festival, so now we're getting a couple of their things in the store.
Okay, yeah, they've been expanding like crazy. I haven't been to it yet, but they have this. It's called Area 2. It's their experimental beer area. Ooh. And they do a ton of sours, a ton of Goes beers. They do a couple bizarre, odd, and one-off things that they try. I went to their Oktoberfest this year, which was loads of fun. I mean, they have a few things you can try from the experimental side, but basically they just have like 3 beers. They have like their Oktoberfest they have a special Feist beer that they make just for the festival, which was I thought was better than the Oktoberfest. And I can't even remember what the third beer was that they had. But they make a lot of really good beers. And yeah, although my favorite they stopped making, Rye 95, which is a Belgian triple with rye that's 9.5%. They brought it back this year.
Greg perking up down there.
What? Damn, that's sounds good.
Yeah.
That is a smooth 9.5% beer. Let me tell you.
Wow. I got to give a shout out to Ryan Darcy. I know Kevin and Doug know Ryan Darcy. I was at GBAF and he's like, you're in Denver, you got to go to Two Roads. So like I went to Two Roads, and Two Roads is one of those places. I don't know if you guys ever been at JBF. They have a gazillion breweries. You feel overwhelmed. There's just too many. But Two Roads is a place that I sat at and I had every single beer because like when I go to these big beer festivals, like I like to go to the little breweries. So then, because there's always lines at the big ones generally. So then I go to little breweries, and if I have a good one, I'll stay. If I have a bad one, I'll leave. And I do that because then it keeps me at a good place, and then I can move on if I'm at a bad place or at a place. I get obviously sometimes it doesn't work because you can get a bad beer from a good brewery and then you miss them. Long story short, Two Roads, every one I had was like fantastic. They had like 10 on tap, and I was just like,
yeah, they're even they're just the beers that their season round beers are like all pretty solid. I mean, they have their IPA has got kind of a grapefruit tinge. Before the grapefruit IPA was the big thing. They one of their year rounds now, they make a year round Helles Lager, which no one does, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good beer. But the only one that I'm not really a huge fan of their year rounds is their Hefeweizen, because for some reason I liked it when I first had it. I don't know if they've changed the formula or just it's something about it. It's changed. It's like it's flat. I've never had it. You pour it foams for like half a second and then it's totally flat. And it's got kind of it's just kind of in that kind of like something. It kind of is kind of like a flat type of Hefeweizen. It's not my favorite of them.
man. But every brewery you can't get it. You can't hit it right every time.
No. But I mean, yeah, they're great, and they're really nice people. They're very friendly. Every time I've been up there, they're like super nice guys.
So cool. That's I don't know. Two Roads to me is on my hit list as a brewery. I wanna quick here go over to Matt here. Matt, you have something that's very, very interesting. You told us about it in post here, and I want to make sure we give it time for this.
So people might have heard of this brewery before. It's the Pabst Blue Ribbon. they made a hard coffee, and essentially a local brewery around me, Imprint, made their own hard coffee called Mean Mugs. I just want you to appreciate the can art on that because I fucking love that shit.
Where is it again?
Mean Mugs from Imprint.
Oh, Imprint.
So it's nitrogen infused. They say to shake it. Contains milk.
Shake weight it.
Did I hear shake weight? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, I said shake weight it.
Wow.
I just want to like show off my glass a little bit here.
What is on it?
Yeah. Let's see it again.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's a Tired Hands teeth glass, gold.
Okay. I thought it was some beer. I thought it was some Bear Trubisky shit.
Nah.
I like Trubisky though. Let's not even start actually.
Yeah, let's talk it. Let's keep that to the NFL group.
Right. So Imprint, what is this called again? Mad Mugs.
So this is called Mean Mugs.
I'm sorry, Mean Mugs. Yeah.
And
I
here it
know.
is, all
Beer
nice
with
and poured
hard
into my glass here.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that looks like a lovely like cold brew.
What?
Yeah. So it's literally here. Let's here. Maybe the stats will come through. I don't know if it's going to be backwards because I'm on my phone here, but so it's Mean Mugs hard coffee, brewed and canned in Hatfield, Pennsylvania by Imprint Beer Company. Single origin Honduran cold brewed coffee, 5.5% ABV. Keep cold, drink within 30 days of purchase. Contains milk.
Yeah, down at the bottom it shows Mean Mugs.
Mean Mugs hard coffee. And look at this chocolate chip cookie Mean Mugs.
Oh, Nitro.
Yeah, they got tons
Look at
of
that shit.
ridiculous stuff. I picked up 2 bottles when I picked
Whoa,
this
whoa.
up. Actually,
Look at that thing above it. Dulce de Turtles. Oh,
Here's what
baby.
toast- Oh.
Here.
That is calling my name.
That double
Oh,
pineapple
Nitro.
vanilla.
hey, that waffle berry that you just had,
Waffleberry.
highlighted?
Yes.
Yo, I have a bottle of it. You want me to bring it to New York with me?
Oh.
Matt,
You want
I'm
to try
coming
it?
to New York, so god damn it, bring that and
We got to get McKeever in on New York too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys going into this? You're going into New York City or
Yes. Yes.
when is this big trip?
May the week after Mother's Day.
the merry, merry month of May.
Something like that. The week after Mother's Day.
I'll make it happen. I'll be there for at least part of it with you.
RC, you're invited too, man. Everybody's
I'm
invited. I'm coming from Wisconsin, so
My wife's coming with, so that'll be fun because she's a freaking barrel of monkeys, so it'll be fun.
oh, Joe's coming.
Yeah.
Wow, this is gonna be fantastic. Anyway,
Crazy.
can we get to Imprint because look at all this shit.
Oh my
Yo,
god. That is all their stuff, man. That just looks like they have a Nilla monster.
Matt was trying to get me to go here. I just couldn't do it on the Philly trip.
well, so the problem was they were having like a beer fest the weekend that you were here.
Right. Yep.
So you know, for the New York trip, like I'll go here and I'll try to grab as many crowlers as I can. Like they have these crazy things, like they're the closest that you can get to like the Answer like juice crowlers around here, where it's technically beer but not, you know what I mean? Like it's like sour juice that's alcoholic. It's ridiculous.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like the third brewery that.
See, this is where I don't fall in with the beer purists ever. Just because I like the fads. I want your fruity pebble cook beer. I want your chocolate chip cookies. I want it all. I do. I know it's bad and it's fatty, but I don't really care. So
How is
Matt,
I gotta say,
is that the
I think-
color of it though?
yeah,
Well, that's not coffee.
No, that's
it's
coffee with
coffee.
cream and sugar.
It's kind of like a little bit of a muddy thing there, but
Touche, dog.
cream and coffee.
Touche, dog. No, Doug got it.
cream and sugar.
Cream and sugar.
yeah. It's coffee with cream and sugar.
Wow.
It's fantastic. It's seriously like
So it's gonna keep you up.
yeah. It's I'll probably do that for a little while.
It's gonna wake him up from the 11 ABVs
I mean, I
that
did,
he's already
yeah.
had.
So that's the thing. I did drink 2 11%ers back to back. Pretty
Right.
quickly.
And then add freaking coffee
It's
drink.
22% alcohol filling his body right now.
It's gonna be a
Well,
Netflix movie
this
night.
will make it, 27.5.
True. Netflix or what? Disney? What they call it? Disney
Yeah.
Plus now, right?
Well, I was gonna say, just watch The Irishman and you'll be out. Like, for point.
Oh, I need to see that. Don't spoil it. I need to see
No,
it.
it's a good movie, but there's points you're like, man, this is long.
Well, RC, I saw it's 3.5 hours, right?
3.5 hours, and
I
at points
saw
you do
something
feel
online.
it.
I saw something online where they tell you to break it up into like 3 movies. Like,
Yeah.
you stop it here, and then you bring it back. Like, because it's like 3 Godfathers, is what they said.
I would say you could stop it like after maybe like an hour and a half, 2 in, and then watch the other part. You're fine, but it's like there's
I don't have
points
that-
where it kind of hits when you're like, man, is this still like? Because
Don't
usually a Scorsese movie, you're into it and you're hooked, and it's like he's usually 2.5 to 3 hours, possibly depending, and you're fine. But like, what just happened? Like, where are we at now? We're like in Grumpy Old Men or something. What's going on? Get back to the mob stuff.
So, RC, do you have another beer?
Yes, so I am actually going to crack open, as I've talked about so much, a Belgian ale. And before I did that, so like the little Belgian glass here, which is from Brasserie de Chouf, just to kind of give you guys a look there. And I'm actually going to be cracking open a nice or nice Chouf.
You can't see
Might
that.
might go back here because that cameras might be bright there.
Yeah, it's still.
I'm looking at the
I
little
just saw
screen.
that. That was one of the, I almost bought that beer the
Yeah.
other day. So, yeah.
Which is it? La Chouffe?
Le Chouffe, but this is their niche Chouffe. I got like 4 of them in the house here. So, and so this is
I
the
did
Belgian dark ale, which is kind of the most common, like I was saying, versus like what we had earlier with the Med.
You a Belgian guy.
I love freaking Belgian. 10%, 10% ABV. After I had my 8% session ale with 2 Xmas, I'm going to step it back up to this one here, and I'm going to check this one out, which I haven't had this one before. I've had some of the other varieties, but
Have you
looking
had the
forward
cherry
here.
Chouffe? Chouffe?
I've not had the cherry one.
I'm sure that
No.
our friends will be like, "Fuck that noise."
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are we back to cherry again? Nice, little bit of like a ruby red color. Now this one is actually bottle fermented, so you do get some of the particles inside there as well, which never bothered me anyway. Like some people freak out on that. I'm like, dude, people go to GNC and pay good money to get that stuff, so you're getting it for free with beer. Enjoy it. It's on the house.
Yes.
But it's one of those Belgian ales. You do get that yeast aroma coming off that we talked about so much earlier. You get a nice feel of it. Not as much the clove or the coriander, but just like a nice subtlety to it. A little bit of a funkiness.
Funky.
But taste wise, you don't get the cherries. You get a little bit of a molasses type feel. But similar to what the Mad Elf would be if you took the cherries out of it. A little bit of a smoothness to it. You get a little bit of a syrupy type feel in the texture. You get a little bit of that heat from the booze. But overall, very nice. It has nice lasting flavor that sticks around the mouth, gives you good duration. It's just another way you can kick back and just enjoy. I mean, let's face it. I mean, they're over in Belgium making all these good beers, especially like the monks. I mean, they're giving up sex to make beer, so you know it's going to be good.
Hey, if you're channeling your energies toward the right goal,
Yeah, right.
what can go wrong?
That is so brilliant.
Yeah.
I never thought of that
If
before.
you're giving up sex, you better make something damn good.
They do, right. Love
Yeah. But it's nice, but it has a little bit of that dark fruit type feel to it, but it's a Belgian dark ale, which is nice. Yeah.
Kevin,
So I've had an 11, an 8, and a 10 tonight. So,
Yeah.
which isn't bad. I did a 32 ounce of the. I don't know if you saw. I had a video I did on Sunday. I ended up getting a 32-ounce crowler of the 2018 Goose Island Elijah Craig Bourbon County Barrel Stout for like $22.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, I felt good after that Sunday night.
How did you feel Monday morning? That's the
Yeah,
question.
Monday. I don't know. I was actually sick on Monday, but I don't think it was the beer because my wife was sick
Sure.
Saturday with some type of stomach type bug. But I'm sure that didn't help. But Sunday night, that's all that matters. I felt great Sunday night after I had enjoyed that one.
Right.
Yeah, they were
Right.
limited to one crowler per person. So I was gonna go back down this week, but I didn't make it back down because I had been sick. But if it's down there tomorrow, I may pick up another crowler.
I think I would.
Yeah, Elijah Craig.
You guys in
Oh,
Bourbon
yeah.
County last week when I went to the store this week. They had I think they had four of the different versions that they are making of it this year. They had the one that you had. They had the one that was like a barley wine. They had a
Yeah.
couple of them.
Yeah, they had 5. I think they have 5 ones that came out this. But I've got like all the bottles this year from Epic Brewing and the Big Bad Baptist series, so I need to do those as well. Those are like all bombers, so it's like
Those things,
can't really do all those back to back.
those things are like awesome, but they're like huge ABV sting.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna go take a nap now.
Yeah, Doug and I, RC, you were here for Doug and I drank the regular one last week.
Baptist, yeah.
Barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I always enjoy it when I get it.
Yeah,
I'm a little crazy for it, but I was interested. Our girl Afro Beer Chick, bringing her up again. I got to make sure she knows that we're talking about it. Only good, of
Art
course.
studio.
Of course, of course.
But she got some of those variants, and Doug and I were talking on the side, like, man, we gotta hook up with Afro Beer Chick. She got that double,
She
the
like
double
the
stout. and-
Bourbon County double barreled. Like I was like, what the?
Yeah, I saw that too. And she got the benefit of being in Chicago. She can
Got
just
right, and she got her,
roll on over. Yeah,
and she's been working it, so she got her connections, obviously, and that's
exactly.
that's something that you like look at, and you're like, man, lady, you killing it. But at the same time, it's a bit of envy because I'm like, man, I'm not the guy that like stands in line, so I'm not gonna stand in line.
Yeah,
But if you just get that delivered to you, or what I mean, like she's worked her network. I'm not saying she doesn't done anything. No, she's worked her contacts. And
oh yeah, yeah.
for sure. But like I was just like, man, and Doug and I were on the side, like, man, it would be nice to be able to get some of that. So it's cool. So does anybody while we're here, anybody else anything else to drink?
I've got one last one.
Kevin
Here we
knows.
go. Excellent.
And this one I've never had before. It is Back East Brewery Winterfest.
What brewery?
Back East.
Back East.
It's another Connecticut brewery. It's located in Bloomfield.
Okay. And you never had that one before? It's called, what is it called? A winter ale?
It's called Winterfest, and it's brewed with local honey and cinnamon.
Ooh.
So
Okay, click here, see what we brewed. Let's go.
I'm drinking it out of my North Carolina brew
Well, it
blend.
looks tasty. Every porter looks tasty to me.
Get them all. Get them all.
What was this one called
It
again?
doesn't really identify what it's from, what type
Here we
of
go.
beer it is.
Here we go. Winterfest is a deep chestnut colored ale brewed with a touch of cinnamon. Okay. Local honey. We see some honey in there. We see honey in a lot of these now, I've noticed. I
Yeah,
didn't know.
honey seems to be a big thing now in winter beers.
Yep, I haven't noticed how for rich flavor, subtle spices, 6.5. Let's roll.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like all these, with the exception of the Mad Elf, I was kind of surprised that for beers that are considered winter beers, Christmas ales, they're all. I mean, I think the Two Roads had 7.3. All the other ones were like 6 and 6.5. The other ones were 6 and 6.5. I was a little surprised by that when I picked them up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of winter ales I see usually higher. One thing I was just going to say, I was like, I'm kind of surprised no one picked up Sierra Nevada Celebration.
I have a case of it down in the basement. That is by far the one beer every year at Christmas time I stock up on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because people usually get that, but nobody had it on the show, which was kind of surprising there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I figured I'd go for that is by far that is like it's like just a good beer. It's like it's got no spice. It's just like a nice, easy drinking beer. And it's just like, I wait for that beer every year. And I can't wait till I first see it. And I always buy a case or two.
Yeah. One of the 1,001 beers you must taste before you die is part of that book. So
it is. I mean, people bag on Sierra Nevada now because it's like, it's weird is because I see when what was it, Red Hook and was it Weedmere, they got bought out.
Yeah, with A&B and Bev and all that stuff. Yeah,
I was on a different craft beer site, and some guys like, well, they're all like, shitty old school, and I'm like, dude, come on, I'm like, it's an OG beer.
It's an OG, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and like, I'm like, when you had like, what was it, like their ESB and their Copperhead, like, and I'm like, those were really good beers, and they still are good beers. But the thing is, like, everyone goes for these like, big wacky flavors with the haze and the milkshake and this and that.
Cocoa nibs.
Yeah.
And when I see people who like just bag, I'm like, they start bagging on Sierra Nevada, like, it's nothing. I'm like, dude, I'm like, you obviously are like 20, you're like just turned 21.
Yeah.
I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, like, when I first had Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, I'm like, wow, I'm like, this beer is so much better than all the crap I've been drinking. I'm like, I drank Keystone when I was in college.
Yeah. It's like Sierra Nevada is just a solid brewery.
Yeah.
It was Rolling Rock for college and me, which was Ugh.
Oh yeah, I did my share of Rolling
Oh yeah,
Rock.
Rolling Rock, yeah, Slits, yeah, Milwaukee's best. If you were, short on funds that week, I mean, you got what you had.
I went to
You had to
college.
roll
I
the
went to college
beast.
in
You had to
Washington,
roll the
D.C.
beast.
We were the last place. We were the last place in the country that still. I got fostered in, grandfathered in to drink beer and wine when you're 18,
Hmm.
and we were the last place in the country to do that.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, I remember seeing people would buy. You could buy a case of Milwaukee's Best for I think like $8.99.
Yeah, you get the
Like
beast,
ridiculous.
and it was kind of funny because I went to West Virginia when I went to college, and we were actually like the top party school. We're usually like top 5 party school every year now, but we were like what? And it was like the year before I went, the drinking age was 18. The year I went, it turned to 21. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
We still drank. It just wasn't legal, but we still drank.
So
We used to have like quarter drafts, $5 drink and drown nights at bars. Pay $5, and you just drank until you couldn't walk.
Yeah, I was able to drink beer and wine, and when we were cleaning out our basement the other day, and I showed my wife, I found my fake ID from when I was a freshman in college.
We literally had a guy on our floor who was an architecture major who you would go there to get your fake ID. He had it set up with two in his closet where you just slide in doors. You would slide the one way, and Pennsylvania was the easiest state to copy back in the day. So you would stand next to this Pennsylvania sign. He would take the Polaroid one step, take your
are you
picture,
serious?
come back in 20 minutes. He'd have your ID cut out and everything, and you'd just be going to bars with it. Yeah,
No, we were even that
You had to pay him
complicated.
this shit or what? You had to
Yeah,
pay
you
him.
paid him like $20 or whatever, but you were set for the year.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that
before they started
complicated.
messing with the IDs with the holograms and all that kind of stuff. Pennsylvania was the one that everybody had. Everybody's from Pennsylvania.
Our student IDs that we had, they had your name and they had your birth date and stuff on them. Your name and birth date was literally done with a dot. It was done on a dot matrix printer.
Oh my God, yeah.
So you could just print it, and this is exactly what I did. You just print it out on your dot matrix printer. You just put a little piece of tape and tape it on there. Then I went to Woolworths when there was still a Woolworths in my hometown, and I bought for 50 cents in the machine out by the gumballs, and I got laminating sheets and put it over it.
Yeah.
That got me into any bar in Washington D.C. to drink hard liquor because that was the recognized student ID for our college.
Yeah, back in the day, we had some good opportunities to do that for sure compared to the kids nowadays.
So I have one more if anybody's interested.
We're always interested in you, Doug.
For Kevin, because you don't get any of this anymore.
Oh yes, thank you.
Saranac Caramel Porter. It's one of the few Saranac beers that I like. Most of their beers I would not say much about. This is only 5.4 ABV, so it's easily the lightest beer I've had all night.
Saranac, what is it called?
Caramel Porter. So Greg,
Doug,
I'm gonna have this on hand when you come to my house because
Like when I hear to me sweet porters, this is not my thing. So I hear caramel, I hear sweet. So I'm skeptical.
it shouldn't be because it's very. Every time I've had it, it's not been something where it's overpowering. It's just a nice addition to the porter.
Yeah, it's very subtle. It's not a strong caramel.
But I think sometimes as beer drinkers, we read a label and we think the worst. We think it's oh, it's too much pecan or it's too much blueberry. So where are we at with that one, Doug?
So you get the caramel on the nose, but it's not very pronounced at all.
Is it caramel or caramel?
I say caramel. Caramel.
Depends where you're at. How formal do you want to be?
Right.
Catsup or ketchup? I don't know.
But RC though, on a serious note, it depends on where you're from in America whether you say caramel.
I grew up saying caramel where I was at, and then I moved out Midwest and they say caramel. So
Right.
yeah.
Anyway, Doug, back to what's going on with that one?
So caramel porter. I'm gonna tell you, it's so smooth and just really blends in well. It's a nice hint to the porter. The porter itself, the roastiness, everything's there. It's just a little hint of it. It's
Cool,
not-
cool.
This is like, I mean, I've had several of these kind of beers before, but this is one of my favorites because it's just you get the classic porter taste, and then you have a little bit of the caramel in there. That's just a little bit of a nice addition. It's not something that just overtakes the porter flavor, which is what I want. I really like a good roasty porter. So if you're going to have a porter, I want that, and then whatever you're putting on top of it, I just want that to be a hint, and this meets all that criteria for me.
So I went on this little rant. I'll let you jump in next, Kevin. I went on this little rant about fruited porters and all that. RC, I'm really interested. Have you ever had our Alberta Clipper, the fruited porter from Great Lakes?
I don't think I've ever done the Alberta Clipper from Great Lakes.
It's a raspberry porter, and with all due respect, it's fucking disgusting. But
Yeah, I've never had that one.
it's just
More
it's just too
disgusting
much-
than cherry.
Right. It's just too much raspberry, Kevin. Like, I love raspberries, but it's like raspberry, then it's like, oh, I'm gonna try to be a porter here and like throw some roast and shit later. And it's like, nah, man, you didn't pull this off. Stop. Like, I absolutely hate that beer. Great
Like-
Lakes.
Is it worse? Is it worse than Sam Adams Cranberry Lambic? Because that's like the one beer that nobody likes.
They did a cranberry lambic.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I've
yeah.
never had that one. I heard their sour wasn't that good though. They just called
Oh,
it out.
Sour's
I want to try that shit.
Yeah, I heard it was terrible from people.
The
like,
Cosmic
yeah.
Sour.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like sour beers. I'm okay with tart beers. And
I'm
it's
with
not
you.
even like a weak tart. It is like so incredibly bland.
Yeah.
And it's funny because
Greg's
every
heart's broken.
restaurant I've walked into that has that, I've asked the person there, like, so you guys selling any of this? They're like, no. Like it's just sitting on the shelf. Nobody wants it.
You know what the funny thing is, Kevin? Because Kevin, you're up in Connecticut and I'm in Cincinnati. I don't know if you know, but Jim Cook is actually from Cincinnati. So he has a tap room here in Cincinnati where they feature all their beers. Now, 'cause most of the production for their beers across the country is now coming from the Cincinnati area.
Wow.
But they actually put Utopias on tap for the first time here. I didn't get a chance to get over there, but they were actually doing
What?
Utopias
Wow.
on tap here in Cincinnati. Yeah.
Damn. I never had
And by the way, speaking of Cincinnati, latest report came out. Cincinnati is #1 best beer drinking city in the country. I'm not here to toot a horn, though, but it was on Daddy Porter's Facebook group earlier. So since I'm representing for the city, we got a lot of beer. That's all I'm saying.
Thanks for that plug, by the way. But
Jim Cook actually served me a beer in Boston once.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
damn.
I really do think I was legal at this time. I was up there and I did the tour.
The fake
I was up in
ID.
Boston with my parents.
Oh, do the tour, damn it!
Yeah, and I did the tour of the brewery, the actual Boston brewery, which was an awful tour. I mean, seriously, there were like little kids climbing in the kettles and the kegs and playing in them. It was terrible.
Oh,
But then
Wow.
when you go to the tap room afterwards,
You
man.
think you would hide that child labor?
yeah, and you go into the tap room afterwards, and Jim Cook comes out and serves you the beer. This
Right.
was back in like 80. It might, well, okay, it must have been Africa. It might have been, it was like 1990, 89, 90, 91, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, hi, I'm Jim Cook. And he was like the nicest guy in the world. And he's like, "Here, have a beer. Let me help you."
He does come across nice when you see him on stuff, though.
Wow. Cool. So we're all done our beers?
I think so.
I mean, I got 100+ beers in the cellar. If I need to get another one, I can. But
I still have some Mad Elf if anyone wants.
Man,
Anybody.
RC, if you're talking about beer fridges, man, we can pull all nighter, dayer.
exactly. We'll be here till Monday.
My beer fridge is out of control at the moment. And I don't know, man. Like, I have some beer friends, but I don't have like many beer friends that like, hey, let's come over and consume a lot of beer. So
But
a
do you
lot
ever
of
like?
times I'm drinking and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna get enough. Then I like drink half that beer, throw it out, then the next one. Like, that's
Well, let me ask you guys, because I've got to the point now. I kind of went down early and I got these beers, and it's like I'm looking through the beers and I'm like, I shouldn't have bought that fucking beer. I didn't need that beer. I really don't want to drink that beer, really, but it's here now. It's kind of like
That
I'm
was
like getting to the point now, starting to have beer regret or whatever you want to call it. I'm happy when I get it, but when I go to the cellar, it's like, why the fuck are you here still? Another 4-pack?
I think that's called Mad Elf syndrome.
Well, no, they're not Mad Elves. They're not Mad Elves.
Fuck you. Fuck you, man.
Find some friends throwing parties that you can pawn this off on.
But dude, it's like,
Sneak it in there, that 6 of Bud Light. They'll never notice until it's too late.
It's like I go through stuff and it's like, why do I have? And it's like, and the majority of them are like bombers, so it's like, oh, that's gonna fuck me up.
Well, I went tonight to get some more Mad Alpha, and then I got the Blackout Stout, and then I picked up also a 6-pack of a mix and match. And I came home like, why the fuck did I buy all this beer? I have shit tons of beer in my fridge. Why am I buying more? But I said to Jill, I'm like, I'm gonna drink all of it. It's fine.
Right.
Well, it's like one of the places I went to, they have Warlock, which I love Warlock for Southern Tier. They have 4-packs for $6.99. Oh, I'll grab a couple of those. What the fuck? I'll grab them. And it's like, I'm grabbing these beers, and I'm like, I don't really need these beers. And it's like you're drinking one, and you're like, I don't even like you that much. Why are you here?
Last question.
Always the question of whether we actually need these beers. But I always rationalize it, and I always say to my wife, I'm like, I've wasted money on worse things in my life.
Very fair point.
So as the craft beer guy, do you guys, when you go to like your Christmas, do you bring the beer? Because you want to have the beer, or you always
I'll be drinking Bud Light. So no, I'll be bringing my own beer.
Do you bring for yourself, or you bring for everybody else?
I bring for whoever wants to fucking drink it. Seriously.
So you bring like a 6 or like a 12, or
I'll bring 6 or 12, just like
bombers. Because bombers work good on Christmas, right? Or holidays. You just like drop it in the middle of the table, or am I wrong, or what?
Normally, I'll bring a 6 of something. I'll bring I'll either mix up stuff that I have at my house or whatever.
What do you do, Matt?
And sneak the odd Mad Elf. And the other worst beer I ever had next to Mad Elf was Omegang did it. I can't remember the name of it. It's
They're usually solid. They're usually solid.
No. It's the old Bruin style, which is like some
sour.
It's like, sour.
It was nasty. Horrible. That's all I remember. It was a 4-pack. I think it was called Brunetta or something.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Brunetta.
It might be kind of a barley wine, but it was like strong and sour, and it was not my beer. And that was another beer that I pawned off. I like stuck it in the mixed 6-pack I brought to somebody's house. I'm like, I bring you like 5 really good beers and one that someone might like.
Right.
My whole deal is I'll show up with like a 4-pack of like IPAs because I know they'll get drank. I'll bring a crowler of something interesting. And then I'll bring something that's like I will probably be the only person that drinks it, like a saison. Like no one in my family is really like at that level where they can appreciate a really good saison. And I'll pour some out for people, and then they'll either like it and want more or not. And that's usually like the bottle that I'm like counting on. Like, oh, that's probably just going to end up being me. But then everything else, I typically try to bring something to share.
Gotcha.
That's like my holidays, my party thing. Like I usually show up to a party and I'll bring 6 to 8 cans and be like, all right, well, I'm gonna have at least 4 of these. The other 4, if you guys want them, go for it.
Right. So let me jump off on something quick before we end this.
And Greg just
did I get lost, or is Greg just stuck?
I like that freeze frame though. That's perfect.
You could not have planned that better.
Yeah, right.
The Matrix shit.
Should I Vogue?
Yeah, there you go.
You froze right at the right time, Greg.
Anyway, Kevin has been, in my opinion, I could be wrong, animate about telling us about the worst beers that he's had and like the experience that he's had with them. So while Matt is here, I want to experience. It was this year that I've had one of the worst beers ever in my life, and Matt was there to see it. and I almost threw up on that rye bread beer over at
Oh fuck!
Urban.
You mean
I've just heard about this like 7 times.
What the fuck was the name? What was the name that we decided to give that place? Big White
Town.
Town.
Urban Village, but we called it like Gentrification City, or there was so many.
I thought it was Fake White Town. I thought it was Fake White Town.
Fake White Town, yes. Yes. And these didn't come from the black dude, didn't come from me, came from Alex, remember? Remember? It came from Alex was pissed. Anyway, it's called Urban.
Musty.
But actually, the times that I talked about this beer, I didn't even mention the brewery, but I just mentioned it. So it's Urban Village. It's in Philly. It's in a gentrified part of Philly. It's Kensington. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's when they say bad Philly, they talk about Kensington. And when we walked to Kensington and we were walking through and we were at Fermentation Farm and we're walking to find this other brewery, and it's just this big gentrified in the middle of like low income Philly. It's just these big Starbucks and these big stores and all this. And there's just a brewery there. So we roll up to a brewery and we're sitting there and they just had this rye bread beer, RC. And I was like, okay, rye bread. I dislike rye bread. I hate everything about it. But I wanted to try it. So ask Matt, I tried it and it was the only beer this whole fucking year that I was like, no.
What was
No, he was
about it?
he was sitting next to me, and I felt like I was going to be in the splash zone. I was real worried.
Poncho and threw it over your head.
The thing about it though, and I think Kevin mentioned this too, about when he was talking about one of his bad beers. The thing about it was that beer was bad for me, but it was a good beer if you want rye bread in a glass. If that's your thing, go there and do that. But it wasn't my thing. It'll never be my thing. And it is the most disgusting beer I've ever tasted in my life. But they had shirts. Remember, Matt? They had a shirt for this rye bread beer. I mean, they're doing, again, people like it, but like caraway seeds in your beer? What? No. So I had to share that because only Matt was here. And Kevin kept bringing up bad beers. But if Doug and RC or Matt, if you guys want to share your bad beer stories, you got one that was just like, I can never do this.
I got one real quick. So I agreed to do this like live stream thing with like a few of my friends, and I think it's this beer called Mad Elf.
Hey, fuck you.
That's good. I think the only
But you drank it. That is what's most impressive. As much as you hate it, you drank the whole thing.
I mean, I can appreciate the different styles of beers. The only beer I've ever had, like a bar, like, hey, you got to go drain pour this for me, was the Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. It was Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. And behind me, you guys might not be able to see it, but I got a glass collection. They had a pretty cool glass from Leinenkugels. Like, I wanted the glass. And I've never been a Summer Shandy fan. I'm like, I want the glass. I knew the bartender was there. She's like, legally, we have to put the Summer Shandy into it. I'm like, well, give me one of the other IPAs on that. Just put it in the glass. No one will know. She's like, no, we have to put Summer Shandy in there. And I'm like, well, just sell me the glass by itself. We can't do that. So they put the Summer Shandy in there. Wow. And I tried it about a quarter way through, and it was like, Greg was like, I almost bubbled up. I'm like, no, you got to drain pour. She started cracking up. She's like, all right, I'll drain pour it out. I won't even charge you for it or whatever. But I'm like, I cannot. Summer Shandy, I don't know why people go crazy for it. I'm just like,
RC, let me jump in here real quick. Long story shorter, I was able to have the Shandy without the lemon in it. Mm-hmm. It was one of the best beers I've probably ever tasted. It's a fantastic beer, RC. The problem is that they add that stupid lemon syrup bullshit.
Well, with Leinenkugel, I've done the orange, I've done other stuff, but it's just been too sweet. I think they put too much of the sugar, and I had like Rattlers. I like Rattlers.
Yeah.
It's just not much different than a Shandy, but the Shandies. And I like Jolly Traveler that does Shandies. I can do some of theirs, but the Leinenkugel one, that's just pure diabetes. I mean, Wilford Brimley should just pop out of your beer and be like, "Hey, welcome to the club."
I have the same issue with some milk stouts. Some milk stouts are like so super sweet.
Diabetes.
That I just can't take them because I'll have a couple. the concept of a milk stout sounds really good to me, but sometimes
Execution.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, it's just sugar. It's just
Yeah.
Doug, what you got about the Shandies?
yeah.
Yeah.
Doug, what do you got with the Shandies?
I'm gonna go with Lenny Bruce RIPA.
I love that.
You don't like RPA?
I love that.
Yeah, I like RPA. I like it too. Yeah.
Yeah, but
No,
that,
what do you like? What do you hate about it? Let's hear it.
now let me just throw the caveat that this was very early in my craft brew drinking days. And I remember having that in a glass. And the only thing that rivaled it for revulsion was Semiclaus, which is a malt beverage like stout thing that from one of Scandinavian countries. But I remember drinking it. I'm like, I can't fucking finish this. I took 2 drinks. And I'm like, you have to get rid of this. It's one of maybe, and I say this, and Matt, I will vouch for you on this. I will not waste beer except that and about 3 other beers in my life I've ever just said, I'm dumping this down because I can't fucking drink it. And that was one of them.
Right.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's funny because you and Greg had the same issue with rye, and rye is a flavor because it's a strong, spicy flavor. And
Yeah.
I love rye. I like rye whiskeys. I love rye beers. And it's funny because I've been looking. I'm not even sure if they make it anymore because I haven't been able to find it in a long time. That Lenny Bruce one.
The last I had it, I'm trying to think when the last time I had it because I did check in on Untapped, and actually it was a while. Well, actually it was last year, July 4th, 2018.
Yeah,
is when I had the last one.
being made anymore.
Yeah. I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 on Untapped. I enjoyed it, but again, it's follow your palate. Follow
it's
your
a really
palate.
strong, spicy beer, and if you don't like rye, you don't like rye. So I completely understand that. But yeah, it's a very strong beer.
See, I can drink rye whiskey, rye whiskey, and I can do rye bread, but like as a liquid, I just can't do it. It just no.
But you're
Can't
getting
do.
more brewery. You're getting more breweries dabbling in the rye and the beer now, though. I
The
mean,
rye is great. The caraway seeds, no.
I mean, come on,
Exactly.
we're throwing oyster.
Listen
We're
to the
throwing
man.
oyster.
Nah.
I mean, we're throwing oysters.
A friend of mine who's not much of a drinker brought me some liqueur, and he's like, I don't drink a lot. He's like, but I really, really like this, and he's like, so poured me a shot glass of it, and I tried it. I'm like, this tastes like caraway seeds. He's like, that's what it is.
No.
Caraway seed liqueur. And I'm like, why would you drink this?
No.
But again, this is the stuff that we're seeing for the golden age, I guess. I mean, we were talking Great Lakes earlier.
Right.
The oyster stout was actually a great stout from Great Lakes. Throwing oysters in the beer. Flying Dog does it with their pearl necklace. Yeah, that's the name of the beer. So anyway,
Their beer naming process is pretty out there.
RC, you crazy, bro.
they're throwing oysters in the beer, throwing all these other stuff in the beer, and it's like, why are you doing this? But you're like, this actually kind of works here. I'm okay with this.
Doug, we got to do this more often, but we got to wrap up.
We
got to do this more often.
with more
Yeah,
people.
Doug, let's get 5 of our drunk friends together.
Well, RC does it every Thursday, so like whatever.
Yeah.
Every Thursday.
But I get to act a fool on somebody else's channel now, so that's always
Right.
good.
Right. Doug, actually, we do need to go act a fool on RC's channel, though. We do. We have to.
Yeah. I need to get you guys over there for things we can spotlight your channel here. Yeah, definitely.
Right. And I'm not that important. I'm not that smart in games to be able to be on Matt's show. So, Matt, real quick before we leave, talk about what you do, brother.
Talk about me? Or was it me?
Matt Clark,
Yeah.
talk about what you do, brother.
Oh, okay. So,
RC, you're next.
Okay.
yeah, I am a co-host on a podcast. We review video games. Typically, I'm drinking some beers on there.
What's the podcast?
And- The podcast is Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. You can just find us on Facebook if you search it out. We're on Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. But yeah, if you like, raunchy humor and video games, you'll probably love it. So
Did
check
you
us
guys
out.
do my
Super
Overwatch
Fun
show?
Game Review Podcast Go.
Did you do my Overwatch show yet?
No, we didn't do Overwatch yet. I'm trying to get somebody else to play it so we can maybe do some Overwatch. With that Overwatch 2.0 not really a sequel thing coming out, like I think I might be able to convince somebody else to check it out and do a podcast on it.
Cheers. What's up, Doug?
My hand farther for that.
For
I'll
what?
do that. No, for the Overwatch thing, I'll do that. I have to download the thing and play it more because I've been far heavier into Call of Duty and Gears of War and stuff. So,
Are you
but, yeah. So, I would like to say I really enjoyed the shit out of Matt's podcast. That stuff's fun. Those guys are funny as fuck. Just go and listen. If you like video games at all, you'll just shit your pants laughing and enjoy what they have to say.
Dude, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No, it's really a great thing. And like some of the video games I don't know, so I will say I don't go into those too much, but even ones that are like a little bit on my cursory fringe of what I know, I like just hearing what you guys have to say about it, even if it's not something I'm going to play. So, yeah.
Cheers, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Matt, we'll see you. We need to get you back on. Absolutely for the next Bad Elf show, we're gonna do something next year for sure. But we'll have you on in spring, man, because I don't know. Last time we had a good time. RC.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
RC, tell us about you.
Hi, I'm Rod.
Hi.
Rod J
Rod.
Beer Ventures.
He's got a good.
See me around the web.
You got a voice made for radio, bro.
I used to be a radio DJ,
No.
so it works out. So
You know what his voice sounds like? It sounds like those 80s dating shows.
there you go. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Anyway,
I gotta get my voiceover. Yeah, look at this. Look
but
at this.
yeah, if you like beer, we talk beer all the time. Rod J Beer Ventures have the blog. You can go to rodjbeerventures.com. You go to YouTube, Rod J Beer Ventures, Instagram, Twitter, Rod J Beer Venture. Just Google Rod J Beer Ventures. Always doing different stuff. Review different beers. We do a Thursday night broadcast on YouTube, 9:15 Eastern every week. I like that Matt said raunchy because we get a little bit of raunchy sometimes on our broadcast as well. We have fun. My whole thing is to help people learn about beer in an educational but yet a fun and entertaining way. So that's what we try to do. We have fun with it. Greg knows, Doug knows. We just have a great time drinking some beer, doing some different stuff. Next week, we're actually going to go back into the malt liquor world, which I'm not all pumped up about it, but we're going to have a malt liquor video.
Hurricane.
One of our people is breaking out Mad Dog 2020 for it. She's going to do Mad Dog 2020.
No,
we always got different stuff happening on the channel.
Hurricane, man.
Colt 45. You gonna have some Billy D?
Well, we did a malt liquor one before. I forgot what I did. I know we had some Natty Rush on there. We had some Four Loko type stuff. So I'm not sure what I'm going to get this time, but we got the malt liquor too.
Matt,
I'm waiting for the White Claw show.
Malt liquor or what? Matt, you got a comment about malt liquor? I see your expression.
Yo, if I could find one, because I don't know if the company exists anymore, but if I could find a fucking Old English 800, I'm there for it.
Still around.
That's back in the day right there. Yeah, you know what? Maybe Old English.
But
Or
I
maybe
give
one
you
of the,
one that's a little even more obscure.
if I could find a
Stock.
Which one?
Private Stock.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe one of the Slits Bulls. If I could find a Slits Red Bull, that would be interesting as well.
Although
Yeah.
one that is a weirdly underrated one is one called Verdi, which is a malt beverage, which almost tastes like champagne.
Oh.
I don't even know what you're talking about. So,
Sorry.
normally we do a wrap up here, but we're just gonna save that. How about that, Doug? We had Matt Elf. McKeever hates it. Matt Clark hates it. RC loves it. Doug loves it. Greg. but next year we'll be back. Hopefully, all of us. Thanks, guys, for coming on. You guys were vastly more entertaining than me and Doug are ever.
Yeah, we're almost at 2 hours. You realize that,
I
right?
are ever. You guys vastly know more beer than probably me and Doug know. period. So Doug and I thank you for being on. And we're gonna sign off. Cheers. Thanks guys for coming on. We'll see you next year. We will be back with another Mad Elf review.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better come